Have you ever worried about having to do everything yourself as a mom? That your partner might not know what to do or how to be helpful? Are you a control freak that thinks they do things best? Well, mama, I'm here to tell you that you 100% need help and that your partner can be the most reliable source of help and support. With the right communication and clearly defined tasks, parenting can actually be an enjoyable experience with equally shared responsibilities rather than an overload on the mother. Obviously, we can talk from our experience only of the things that worked for us, but I really hope this video is helpful to watch with your partner and think already of ways that you can do as a team to make parenthood a fun adventure. So let's start with a general parenting philosophy. By this I mean being open to discussing and agreeing on shared values and principles. I previously mentioned in a video that the two books that we loved reading before having our baby was Simplicity Parenting and Montessori from the Start. These two books were really great to get us all on the same page when it comes to how we want to raise our child. We each read one chapter at a time and then spent some time discussing it, and this was really helpful. More specifically, I think dads can certainly read dad-specific parenting books. So we got this book as a gift, The New Dad's Guide to Baby's First Year. And this information came in really helpful, so that's also something else they can consider. The third thing is to attend antenatal classes or any courses. We, for example, took a hypnobirthing course and also attended baby classes. Now, I know this is a little bit tricky now given the situation. However, there's lots of virtual classes you can attend, virtual courses you can take. If all else fails, you can just watch informative YouTube videos, such as this one, but also a bunch of other videos that tell you about what to expect. I made a whole series about my pregnancy, labor and birth story, and what happens immediately after that, just to get you prepared, because it's all a very big unknown. Another thing is, as much as possible, to attend hospital visits and scans with you. It can be a bit of a nerve-wracking experience, and having someone to hold your hand makes such a difference. Now here's a list of other helpful things that your partner can do before birth. Practice breathing techniques with you so you are both ready and know what to do when the time comes. Have a list on his phone with the hospital bag list items. Agree on a birth plan with you so he knows what to expect. Have the hospital line number saved on his phone. Finally, help set up the nursery. I know from our experience, I think I was about 7 months pregnant when we had completely finished the nursery in terms of painting it and setting it up with the furniture, and we originally had a crib. I think it was about that time that I discovered the Hapa family YouTube channel, and I completely changed my mind. Instead of a crib, I wanted a floor bed. When he came home after a work event, I said, I know you just built the crib, but we're gonna have to take it down and return it to IKEA. We're super helpful in getting that done, and of course painting the room and making sure it was all ready, because what you don't want to do is to have baby and then have to do all of that DIY and work around the house. It's just a hassle. In terms of the helpful things that your partner can do at birth, I have a whole video where I talk about my labor and birth experience, and in that I give an insight into the role that my husband played into the actual delivery and the actual birth on the day. But there's 4 things here I'd like to share that your partner can do at birth. The first one is certainly to help you practice those breathing techniques and to be that calming voice that you need to soothe you and to help you get through the pain. The second, and that goes hand in hand, is to maintain his calm and composure in hospital, and to also, very importantly, know what your preferences are in terms of pain relief. During the actual labor, it can be really difficult to speak, and your partner effectively acts as your voice to communicate with the midwives and with the doctors. The third one would be to carry all the bags and make sure you don't leave anything behind. We almost forgot a pillow in the hospital. He remembered and went to fetch it as soon as we realized. And lastly, and I mentioned how important this is to do skin to skin with baby immediately after birth. Of course, the mother has the first opportunity to do skin to skin, but after that time for the dad to do skin to skin, it's an amazing opportunity for bonding and attachment. For the first month of baby's life, I've put together a list of 13 things I think your partner can do to be helpful. Bear in mind that this month is truly the toughest month. There will be little sleep, nerves and stress will run high. It's crucial that you work as a team and that you are both aware of the different roles that you could take to make it as easy as possible. So there you go, let's see what they can do. Bring back all that helpful knowledge from the dad books. Agree with the rule that everything you say to each other between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. must be forgotten immediately. You will say some pretty mean shit to each other. Forget about it instantly the next morning. Be hands on deck to feed you. I'm talking breakfast, I'm talking lunch, I'm talking dinner. When you breastfeed, you burn 500 or over 500 calories every single day. So needless to say, food is very important. Be in charge of what I call the station. The station is a setup that you have where you nurse, and you need a few important things around you. Water to always be filled, a bowl with snacks, fruit, nuts, always replenished. Have easy access to your charger, books, muslin cloths, and pump. He can absolutely be in charge of setting up the station, and you can just focus on feeding the baby. Be willing to change diapers and clothes. Be willing to come birth baby after a feed. We knew that we wanted him to be part of feeding her every single day from about 1.5 months onwards. So I asked him to do the research on the system we could use and how to clean it. If you have family around, charge him with setting boundaries in terms of how much, how long, what support is needed. Take parental leave from work to help. Take shifts with baby sleeping. It often happens that the first month when your baby is born, and this is something we're not really told about, your baby just wants to sleep on you or on someone. This can be a little bit confusing because we're not told about this, and we just expect that, after you feed baby, you put them in the Moses basket and they're supposed to peacefully go to sleep. It didn't happen with our baby. It didn't happen with our friends' babies. And on the many forums that I was searching in the middle of the night, I realized this is an issue that happens a lot. In this situation, you need to simply hold your baby to sleep, and we would effectively take shifts. Now, I also had my mother around, which is extremely helpful in that period, and also having your partner prepared to know that this can happen. I remember I was talking to just a random conversation at the post office the other day where the postman saw me with the baby and asked me about this specific thing, asked me if in that first month our baby slept on us. He was under the impression that the mother had spoiled the baby, and the reason why the baby is not sleeping in the cot is because she's spoiling him. And I told him that's absolutely not the case, and this is perfectly normal. You just have to hang in there for the first month and then things will get better. Be understanding of the body changes that take place and be open to talking about them. I'm referring to the bleeding, the tummy, the stitches, the whole thing. It's so important to talk about these things with your partner. Love you and tell you you are beautiful as often as possible. And lastly, perceive you first and foremost as a lover rather than a mother. This feeds into a much wider debate about how we perceive each other after birth. Really making that effort to not see the other person as mom or dad, realizing that that actually comes after what they truly are, which is your soulmate, your partner, your lover. This requires effort because you may feel like this is what defines you right now, but just keep that in mind and remember, Alright, let's talk about months 2 and 3. The first one is keep taking care of the station and your nourishment. Be willing to give baby a bottle. This is a great routine that we started from 1.5 months onwards. I would typically breastfeed and use a Haka pump to collect all of that let down from the breast. This would make up a lot of milk that we'd have to store. Be aware that this can be emotional and tough to begin with, and you also might need to check out different nipple systems before you find one that's comfortable for your baby. Take on the task of feeding baby once a day. We decided that the feeding before bed would be his time with baby exclusively, and we stuck to that routine every single day ever since. This is a great time for mommy to do some self-care, have some time to herself, brush her teeth, take a shower, the things that make you feel human. Lastly, somewhere between 2 to 3 months, you might have a conversation about sex. In this, it's absolutely crucial that you have that loving, understanding, and open communication. It's normally recommended to wait around 6 weeks after giving birth. So if you do try to have sex in this period, your partner needs to be as gentle as possible. Imagine that this is the first time you ever have sex in your life. This is a time to help build romance and passion at a pace that feels comfortable. It's all about readjusting yourselves to your bodies and to discovering what feels good again. If sex is completely off the cards, then at least having an open, honest conversation about meeting each other's needs and reconnecting as adults that have desires, like we said, as lovers, not just as parents. And finally, how can your partner help you from month 4 all the way through to month 8? Let's talk about 4 things. Be accommodating with schedules and be willing to jump in and help with any task. Not waiting to be told, but being proactive to help out. Be cooperating with routines and schedules and openly discussing decisions made with the aim of being on the same page when it comes to sleep, weaning, food habits, ways to communicate with your child, play, etc. Finally, give your time off by taking baby out for walks when you can take a break and be alone for periods of time. Wow, that is a very long list now that I look at it. Your partner can do some of these things, all of these things, or if they do none of these things, then it's time for you to break up. No, but on a serious note, if they do absolutely nothing from this list, it's going to be really, really difficult. It is impossible to have that peaceful, lovely motherhood experience in the beginning, in the early months, and for your partner to not be involved in taking care of all these other aspects. And make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you learned anything new, and a thumbs down if you didn't learn anything and you found it boring. It's important for me to know. Now, if you thought this was interesting, next week I'm going to be doing the flip side. I'm going to be interviewing my husband, asking him what were the things that I did to help him be more comfortable in his role as a father. I do think it's important to get both perspectives here and realize that even though I had a lot on my plate, there were things that I did to still make him also have a nice experience and get through this transition easier, because it's new for both of us. Stay tuned for next week. I'll be posting that video next Thursday. Until then, let me know in the comments what other ways have your partners helped to make motherhood easier for you. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll catch you in the comments. Bye.